Alright, hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Rob here at Smirking Gun Reviews. Back to talk more Lovecraft Country. Again, I want to thank everybody out there that chooses to watch these every single week. There are people that have early access to basically every big show and either drop their reviews early or have them ready right after the episode drops. And I know that a lot of people just can't help themselves and they watch it. They watch the reviews, they watch the spoiler reviews. I don't know if it's just because of COVID or if it's just in people's nature to want things spoiled for them, but I want you guys to know I really appreciate that after the fact that, you know, people want to watch more than one of the Lovecraft reviews. If you watch these and you've liked them or subscribed to them or checked them out in general or left a comment, thank you very much. I really, really appreciate it. I really mean it because I don't do this for likes and subscribes. I want growth, but I don't want growth the way those people want growth. The ones who hinge their entire life and their financial life on making YouTube videos and making money off of YouTube. That is not why we do it. We do it, I do it here for the passion to talk to you guys about these shows and how they make me feel and how they make you feel. And interacting with you guys. This is not about cha-ching and taking your money. So thanks again. Now to get into this episode, which is episode 8, Jig-A-Bobo. Holy moly. I have a lot more to say about this one than I do last week. In fact, I do have a lot to say about last week. There's so much. In fact, you guys were so great again. Just blowing my mind with the research that you guys and the work you put into the comment section of this show. Talking about all the different Easter eggs that were in last week. And talking about Hippolyta's journey. You guys were so much more eloquent and thoughtful. And it's really, really great to see the reaction that this show gets from just about everybody. There's some real a-holes out there that don't like this show. They like to let everybody know about it because they don't like social justice in their topics, in their shows, and the things they like. But anyway, this episode, starting with Cruel Summer by Bananarama. I believe it's Bananarama. Great choice. Just really weird because this is the funeral for Emmitt Till. And it's hot. Summertime is my least favorite season. It affects your mental state in a way that I feel like cold doesn't. When it's cold out, if you have it available, you can always put more clothes on. You can go indoors. You can turn, you can get more comfortable in the situation as long as you're not out exposed to the elements. In summertime, there's a limit. There's only so many clothes you can take off out in public when it's 100+ degrees. I get miserable in the summertime. I hate it. It's why, as I've gotten older, that I spend less and less time outside, especially in the summertime. In the fall, I love it. That crisp air hits you. You put on a jacket. I like putting on a jacket. But the summertime heat, it affects you like also in that, look at the crime rate that happens. And watching this is that's what I was thinking about, is like the emotional states of people in heat and how all these people are still there in this heat to do something that is very sad to hear. When you hear Montrose say that George would have wanted Diana to be there because it's every Negro's rite of passage to see Bobo like this. That is a horrifying yet true way that it was looked at. It is, that to force someone to see the reality of what it's like out there for, as he put it, a Negro, a person of color. that this is the reality you live in. That your friend, yourself, your parents, anyone can be taken from you, and this could be their fate, and that you best get used to it. It's a terrifying. This episode, in fact, was the first episode that truly scared me on several levels. That's a scary thought. It's just a sad and troubling thought that's, again, the way it is for people of color. If that has happened that many times, that it's a rite of passage. And the other elements of this that scared me were, well, those two little girl monsters with that music. Um, was that "Stop That Knock and Let Me In" shut? That was legit scary. That was legit creepy as all hell scary. I really, every time it happened, I felt it in my chest, where it's like you kind of feel the bottom drop out. But not just that kind of scary either. When Diana has her, runs off and throws the rocks at the girls and is confronted by the sheriff or whoever he is, the guy who runs the show there, who's found the comic book, that wants the orrery, that wants his power, because Christina's challenging him with it. That confrontation and the tone and the up close and personal way of talking, and just the way that they speak to another person. I've I've I I've never had anybody speak to me like that I didn't basically get into a fight with. Anybody who gets that close and uses that tone means like, goodwill. And to be a young African American girl in this position, I mean, they even throw in, for good measure, the "I can't breathe" when he's got her in the chokehold. And it brought up a lot. It brings up a lot of feelings. And then to throw in magic on top of all of that they put this curse on her. It's so evil. And there's so much evil going on right now, and it's a little like I feel like I'm drowning in it. And so when you watch these kind of scenes, or at least when I do, it almost overwhelms you to the point of, like, I can't take it anymore. I just want the world to stop being so shitty. But this episode was also really entertaining as well. It had so much going on. We get a lot of exposition. I mean, we even have Jamie Chung's succubus come back, which was nice but brief. We also have the whole idea of what did happen to Hippolyta, and whether they want to tell Diana about it, because she just lost her father. She just lost her best friend to the horrifying true murder of Emmitt Till. Hearing the details of that was horrifying enough. But now to find out that they have to decide whether to tell her that her mother's gone. And they don't know if she's coming back. But what we do know is that Tick did go into the future. He did go through the portal. And the person who wrote that book that says George Freeman is his son. That's crazy as all hell as well. Also, we got to talk about that sex and transformation scene. Ruby has been drawn in pretty closely by Christina / William. And, she goes over there after the funeral and has sex with William as the white woman. That scene where she is turning into herself while they're having sex is so, like, oh, what the actual fuckity fuck is that is so like just I've seen a lot of stuff, man. I have never I don't know if I ever want to see that again. But that was like the effects were so good. I mean I know it, like, it kind of looked a little faggy, but like I just it was so they did such a great job with it. And the fact that they've been doing this, right? They've been making these because how topical, you know, the I can't breathe stuff, throwing in all this stuff that's only been a few months, and they must have been running out the gate making this show to be this topical and be done so well that it's just crazy. You know, you can throw in George Floyd references that, and it's when everything was shut down and to be able to make this that fast and to look that good. I'm saying it's fantastic. When she actually sees the two girls on the train at the train station, my reaction was just no. 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 I mean, it was amazingly done, but I was like, no. See, this is my thing. Like, I don't care. Like, I can handle Freddy Krueger, Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers, Leatherface, chasing me with a chainsaw in my nightmares. I can handle all of that. That doesn't scare me. It's the creepy shit that you know might not be there. That's the shit that gets me. It's the ghostly, creepy stuff like this. Them walking backwards, the head tilting backwards, basically disconnect, like just, and the fingernails and the eyes and the movement and the music. I was like, nope, get me out of here. I was like her, man, like get me the fuck out of here. I'd have jumped over the train tracks. I'd have been gone. I'd have been gone. But the thing is it doesn't matter how you run. It's like it follows. It's going to come for you no matter what. She's cursed. And that shook me a little bit. And there's a lot of stuff in here that I'm kind of glossing over, like the succubus conversation, because that to me just didn't really move the plot along that much. Her being mad at him, Letty being mad at him for not telling him because he's the only one who hasn't died, you know. It felt a little like it didn't really go anywhere. She just came there to say that she doesn't know how he's gonna die because nobody's ever lived before. I've also kind of skipped over some Montrose stuff, and it's not because of the fact that he's talking about being a homosexual. I just keep forgetting. Which it continues to be a plot point in here. And this Atticus confronting him about, did you ever cheat on my mom? You know, that kind of thing. Yeah, I thought about it. I didn't. You know, him talking about the experience of, you know, being a black and gay person. You know, discrimination on top of discrimination. Talking about, you know, things that happened, like the guy who is the Imitation Game is based on, right? The chemical castration and being put in a loony bin, that kind of thing that happens to you. You know, it's just, we've come a long way, at least in that aspect of homosexuals being treated might more fairly right now, but not. I'm not going to even try to say that it's all sewn up and tied up and dealt with. There's still tons of discrimination on that level, and more than that, hate. The moment that Christina tells Ruby, you know, she's confronts her saying, do you even care about Emmitt Till? And she's like, no. And I don't think you do either. You just took the potion, and when I was banging you was a woman who is afraid to admit that she wants what she wants. That's like a slap in the face, right? A cold slap of, is that true? Kind of a cold glass of water thrown in your face reality. For Ruby, it looks like for a second she's conflicted, but when she talks to Letitia later, she pretty much says that's how that's what she wants. She's tired of of the way that things have to be or are, and if she can learn from Christina a new way to make her own way without having to be worried about her color and not facing up that Christina is using her, well, I mean, hopefully she finds out before it's too late. I did like the Nightmare on Elm Street girls, kind of. They were singing a different song, but that was a nice little nod of the kids singing the rhyme. The little blonde girls straight out of Nightmare on Elm Street. Um, those little girls though that they're chasing Diana, they're probably going to be in a dream of mine at some point here. That's that's just too creepy to not make it into the list. And if I do see them in a dream, like I said, I can handle most things, but I don't know how I'll handle that if I dream that. Um, Letty making a deal for Tick to become invulnerable, offering up the pages. And Christina saying no, but I'll make a deal for you to be invulnerable. And her saying no. Christina having that look on her face of, I know she's going to say yes. And that giddy smile on her face when she knows she has her. Because she knows that she's pregnant, you know, she will take the deal to protect herself in the end. I also really liked the Montrose and Tick scene where they're making the spell themselves. What's not so great about that scene is when you find out that Montrose is dyslexic and he's like, are there any more secrets? And there's just too long a pause there. Too long a pause and too weird a look to go, oh God, there's still more. There's still more to Montrose that we don't know. And after everything else, now finding out that he's dyslexic, which I don't think you should do. I don't think the person reading a spell out of a book, I don't think you want them to be dyslexic. I think if you accidentally reverse a word or say a word wrong in this kind of show, I was expecting, if you haven't seen the latest episode of The Boys, I was expecting kind of an unexpected boom right there at the end when there was that little pause like, did it work? Kaboom! But nothing happened. What does happen though is Diana confronts the cops. I love this scene, just pounding her way in there. Now, whether or not they just didn't care that she's there and she means nothing and she's inconsequential and why bother doing anything to her, I did love that scene where she's like, you know, what happens if it gets me? Hippolyta is Greek asshole. Well, they want the orrery, and if they get it for her, they'll remove whatever's chasing her. Which, in my opinion, if they get their orrery, they'll just fucking kill her like, you know, Emmitt Till. But she says, fuck you, pig, and leaves. Now, meanwhile, Christina is off doing something out by this dock, by the river. And this scene had me for a second because she looks like she's about to do a spell. She's telling these guys off, and then they proceed to beat her to death, shoot her in the chest twice, wrap barbed wire around her neck, tied to a cotton gin fan, and tossed into the water. And when you realize, I'm going, wow, they're killing her just like Emmitt Till, I was like, whoa. Until they said, why would somebody want to die like that? She paid them to find out what it felt like to suffer as Emmitt Till suffered. And does that mean that she does care and she's trying to feel what Ruby was asking her to feel? Does that mean Christina is a redeemable character? Does that mean that she loves Ruby enough to put herself through that pain even though, you know, she knows she will survive it? That's just, I don't know if that's love, but that's definitely a way to go if you want to understand someone's suffering. I just don't recommend it. Also, I mean, if you never wanted to see what probably, you know, in some way happened to Emmitt Till, that's a trigger scene. But if you ever wanted to see what it would look like if a white person had to die like that, well, there you go. Okay, this thing. And last but not least, Ruby tells Letty everything I know about magic, and Christina's going to teach me. That's where she brings up the whole, you're being used. But she doesn't want to hear it, and they get interrupted because the cops are outside surrounding the house, and when they can't come in, they realize that the cop now knows that they know about magic. He has magic. He shoots up the place. Letty decides to test her invulnerability, which was also pretty cool, seeing the bullets get near and bounce off. And we've got Diana who, seals herself in a room to confront the curse, which was a pretty... I thought maybe she was setting up a trap. But instead, what happens is Montrose comes in and grabs her, which lets them attack her. And there's something going on now infecting her. So we'll find out what happens when she said, what happens if they catch me. But the highlight has got to be the very last moment where Tick is confronted by the police that are around the house. He puts his hands up. These goose-stepping morons, to quote Sean Connery, decide to shoot at him as Letty tries to run, presumably to get in front of the bullets, but can't. And while I was waiting for Tick, and I literally thought he was going to get killed here, out of the ground comes a Lovecraft monster out of the ground. It was amazing. It was glorious. It didn't go well for the cops, which I'm fine with. In fact, we know that the sheriff got his ass handed to him. He gets ripped apart, and I literally laughed out loud when the cop, when the explosion hit and the car flew and they flew into the yard, and you see the other cop go flying in the air. I laughed out loud, like literally. I don't usually LOL ever, except for when I'm making videos and I think something's funny. Yeah, that was really, really funny. And now they stop the creature. Now, is it a creature or is it a person who became a creature? Is it Montrose? I don't know. We'll find out. Maybe we will. Maybe we won't. I don't know. All I know is that next week looks as insane as this one. In fact, these episodes, man, this is glorious, okay? As much social issues and important topics are in this show, it's also a way to just completely make me forget a little bit all the madness that's going on around me. So anyway, if you like this review, please hit the like button, comment, share, subscribe, comment, subscribe, share with people who, like this show. We'll be back next week with the penultimate episode of season 1. I hope there's more seasons. I don't want it to go on for like 20 years or anything, but I hope there's another season of this. There's got to be. Otherwise, this is Rob saying we'll be back next week with episode 9. Have a great night. Be kind to each other, and we will see you next week. Have a good one. Bye. But you gotta press stop first.